Hey, what is up guys, Josh here of Yugatech, and the ASUS TUF series has always been known to deliver durable and affordable laptops without compromising gaming performance. Now, what we have here today is the TUF Dash F15, and this one is equipped with Intel's 11th generation processors and up to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 GPU. It also features a refresh rate of up to 240Hz and is all packed in a very slim and portable form factor. Could this be your next on-the-go gaming solution? Keep watching to find out. When we first unboxed this, we initially thought there was a mistake. The TUF Dash F15, like its name, looks sleek, well-contoured, and frankly, far from the utilitarian profile we're used to seeing from the company's lineup. And that's a pretty good thing in my opinion. Our unit comes in Eclipse Gray, and it features a smooth matte aluminum finish. But according to the website, it also comes in Moonlight White for a cleaner appearance. The subtle aesthetic is something we really appreciate, although the large TUF logo on the side as well as on the corner is a quick giveaway that this is no ordinary business laptop. The front of the laptop is nice and bare. No lights, no speakers, just a ledge present right in the middle, which adds to its minimalistic appeal. It measures 0.8 inches thick or 20.3 millimeters and weighs just 4.5 pounds or 2 kilograms, making for a very thin and light gaming laptop. Over at the left, you have the exhaust grills, the charging port, Ethernet slot, a full-sized HDMI port, a USB 3.2 port, a USB Type-C with DisplayPort 1.4 and power delivery support of up to 100 watts, and the 3.5mm combo jack. On the right are two more USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, an exhaust grill, and your standard Kensington lock. Now, don't get me wrong, although great for quick accessibility, there is kind of a gripe with this type of I/O configuration. With the USB ports mounted on the side, it does have a tendency to get in the way when using a mouse. Apart from that, the exhaust ports blowing out hot air can also make it relatively uncomfortable, especially if you're working with a small space. But if space isn't an issue, pushing the laptop further and hooking up an external keyboard is an easy fix. Since all the ports are located on the side, it leaves a good amount of space for the exhaust grills at the back to dissipate as much heat as possible. Flipping the laptop over, you'll be presented with a plastic black finish. Extra passive vents and intake grills are present in this area, with the speaker grills mounted by the front section. The rubber feet over here are in charge to elevate and keep the laptop in place. And while it's definitely not the most premium looking part, it does make it easier to access the two M.2 and SSD slots by unscrewing the pop-up screws that push the bottom of the chassis away from the case. Inside of the laptop feels a lot like the exterior's aluminum material, but the slight flex on the palm rests leaves us to believe that this portion is constructed out of plastic. This time it's dressed in a smooth black colorway with a bit of texture on the sides of the keyboard deck. Speaking of the keyboard, the TUF Dash F15 is pretty comfy to type on. And considering how thin it is, there is still a good amount of key travel at 1.7mm. We would have preferred more spacing in between the keys though, but that's just us. Unfortunately, no RGB lighting to offer, probably to keep the prices down. But we are getting this teal backlight that gives us mixed emotions. It's flashy and all, but maybe an option for a white backlight would have been nice to have. At least it illuminates the keyboard pretty well during the evening. It also offers 3 lighting patterns to choose from. There's the classic static mode with 3 brightness levels, a breathing effect with a choice of tempo, and also a strobing effect but without any additional settings. You get a few extra keys along the top of the keyboard, including volume control, microphone mute, and a shortcut to open ASUS's Armoury Crate software. The center-mounted trackpad is nice and large enough for my fingers to occupy. Having a similar finish to the rest of its body, there is a very slight resistance compared to other trackpads out there. But generally, we didn't run into any accuracy or gesture issues whatsoever. The buttons underneath are nice and tactile and give a light click when pressed. Above all the inputs is some more ventilation and 3 white LED indicators set in place for power, charging, and the SSD activity light. It's nice to see that it's designed in such a way that you can still view them even after the lid is closed. Good job, ASUS. The ASUS TUF Dash F15 is equipped with a 15-inch Full HD IPS display with a 100% sRGB rating. Depending on the model, they are configured with a refresh rate of either 60, 144, or a super smooth 240Hz, which is the unit that we have with us today. This one also comes with 3 milliseconds adaptive sync and should be a treat to use for competitive gameplay. More on that later. The anti-glare screen that's matte in texture, coupled with an IPS panel, makes for fairly decent viewing angles. Colors are nice and vibrant, and the experience was pleasing enough to say the least. The two-way AI noise-canceling speakers were good, but not great. It's not the loudest, but we can appreciate the fact that it doesn't sound tinny. Audio quality is balanced and should be enough to get you by in the event you don't have any external speakers or headphones. The TUF Dash F15 has some relatively thin bezels on each side except for the bottom featuring the ASUS logo. Unfortunately, the narrow frames apparently means we also don't have space for a built-in webcam, which had me slightly estranged for a brief moment. Of course, buying a third-party webcam would be a simple solution, but that's still one more extra task to knock off the park than just having it on board. Not to mention you have to deal with those extra wires dangling as well. It's not a major deal breaker, but it could be, especially if you're frequently using it for Zoom meetings and web conferences. For OS and apps, the TUF Dash F15 comes with Windows 10 Home pre-installed, has Wi-Fi 6, and Thunderbolt 4 support. Upon our tests, it took around 8 seconds before being able to fully boot up, which obviously is not as blazing fast as Ultrabooks, but it's still quite a commendable speed. One of the things that we really like is ASUS's Armory Crate. Apart from being able to control the Aura Sync devices and monitor stats, it enables you to intuitively configure the laptop in other ways, such as choosing different performance modes from silent to turbo, setting custom profiles, and toggle different screen optimization settings such as racing, FPS, cinema, and eye care mode. The TUF Dash F15 we have is the top-of-the-line model, featuring Intel's latest 11th generation Core i7 processor and up to an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 GPU. It's also accompanied by 16GB of RAM, upgradable up to 32GB, and a 1TB PCIe SSD, which can also be bumped up for more storage. While it does pack the latest from both Intel and NVIDIA, it's most definitely not as powerful as its desktop counterparts. However, we're happy to announce that the performance on this laptop is more than enough even for the average gamer. It holds itself well not just when it comes to playing our favorite titles, but even in our benchmark tests as well. Starting with Cinebench scores, we're getting pretty respectable results. The 4-core 8-thread CPU sits on the same level as Intel's Core i5-9600K for desktops, with a higher average single core and a slightly lower multi-core score. It's not going to break any records, but we're still glad to be able to get an undoubtedly capable processor. Testing both CPU and GPU, we ran 3DMark's Firestrike and TimeSpy to see the overall performance of this laptop. Scores were relatively high on both tests, with no major problems whatsoever. And at the end of the test, the bottom panel was quite warm, but not too hot to the touch. Putting it to an actual gaming test, we fired up a couple of popular titles, mostly first-person shooters to take advantage of that high refresh rate panel, as well as ray tracing supported titles like Call of Duty and Minecraft. Beginning with Call of Duty Warzone, the TUF Dash F15 was able to handle it very well. Although visuals were great, it couldn't make the most out of the 240Hz display. DLSS makes things a lot better though by using AI to improve frame rates. At the highest settings, we got an average of around 59 FPS, while setting everything to normal gave an improvement of 77 FPS. It fared much better when we played less graphically demanding titles like Valorant and Apex Legends. Testing a full round on each game gave much better results, with Valorant running an average of 130 frames per second, while Apex Legends was cruising at a comfortable 105 frames per second. I couldn't help but run Minecraft at the end of the testing, since even high-spec computers have a tough time playing this on the highest settings possible. And although I already knew it was an impossible feat, the shadows and reflections from ray tracing still left me in visual awe, which is more than what I expected from this laptop. As sleek as it already looks, the ASUS TUF Dash F15 is powered by a fairly large 77.7 Wh battery. In our standard video loop test, which involves playing a 1080p movie at 50% brightness, 50% volume with headphones, airplane mode turned on, and balanced power settings, it was able to last 7 hours and 8 minutes, while PC Mark X's work mode test scores it at 10.1 hours. With the included 200-watt barrel charger, it took a quick 1 hour and 20 minutes to reach from 0 to 100%. We didn't get to test for 100 watts PD charging on the Type-C port, but we can confirm it most definitely works. The ASUS TUF Dash F15 is one of the most interesting laptops in the series so far. It's the company's solution to provide people with mobility, functionality, and durability all at a relatively affordable price. Although it's not without any problems of its own, it still checks the boxes with its good performance, great battery life, and aesthetically pleasing form factor. If there are things that could be improved, it would certainly be the addition of a built-in webcam so at least we could have biometric login, and maybe a more neutral backlight color for a more professional look. And when it comes to pricing and availability, sadly this particular configuration is not available in the Philippines. But for those who are still interested in getting one, it ranges from 54 to 94,995 pesos depending on the model that you're getting. Either way, at these prices along with its performance, there's really not much to complain about. Let us know what you guys think in the comments section down below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to our channel for more content, hit the bell icon so you guys don't miss any future uploads, and be sure to visit yugatech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. Again, this has been Josh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.